Every morning, your cucumber plant opens flowers. Every afternoon, those flowers close. And not a single cucumber has formed yet. You have checked the plant. It looks healthy. The vines are climbing. Something is clearly working. But nothing is turning into food. There are two reasons this happens. One you can diagnose in 10 seconds. The other is something almost every gardener in this situation makes worse without realizing it. Your cucumber plant is producing two completely different kinds of flowers right now. One kind can become a cucumber. The other kind never will, no matter how long you wait, no matter how much you water or feed or talk to the plant through the fence. And if you cannot tell them apart in about 10 seconds, you are going to spend the rest of June watching flowers open and close and drop, and the vines stay completely empty. The good news is that telling them apart takes exactly 10 seconds once you know what to look for. And once you know, half of this problem either disappears entirely or becomes something you can fix this morning. Go out to your cucumber plant or picture it clearly in your mind. Find a flower. Look at the base of it, right where the yellow petals attach, right at the point where flower meets stem. If the base is thin and plain, the same diameter as any other stem on the plant, that is a male flower. It is producing pollen right now. It is doing its job. But it will never, under any circumstances, become a cucumber. Now look for a flower with a different base. A flower where there is a small, rounded swelling sitting just behind the petals before the stem. A tiny shape about the size of your little fingernail, slightly ridged, unmistakably different from the plain stems around it. That small shape is an undeveloped cucumber. That is a female flower. That is the only flower on your entire plant that has any possibility of producing fruit. If every single flower you can find has a plain, thin base with no swelling at all, you have only male flowers right now. And that is completely normal. Cucumber plants produce male flowers first. This is not a sign that something went wrong. It is the plant building up a supply of pollen in advance of the female flowers, making sure that when females do appear, there will be plenty of pollen ready and waiting. Males typically show up 1 to 2 weeks before the first female flower. Some plants in cooler conditions or under mild stress push that gap to 3 weeks. If your plant has been flowering for less than 2 weeks and every flower is male, the females are coming. Check each new flower at the base as it opens. You will find the first female soon. If this is already making sense, hit subscribe because every few days I put out a new video timed to exactly what is happening in the garden right now. Having both types on the plant at the same time still does not guarantee a single cucumber. This is the exact failure point where most gardeners lose their entire first flush of fruit without ever understanding why. The female cucumber flower is open and available for pollination for roughly 1 day. Sometimes less in hot weather. In the morning, usually between 8 and 10, the flower is fully open and receptive. By early afternoon, it starts to close. By the next morning, it has shut completely, and within a day or two, it drops from the plant. Whether it was pollinated or not, whether a cucumber started forming or not, the flower simply closes and falls. Think about what that means. Every morning, your plant is opening female flowers. Each one has maybe 8 hours. If nothing transfers pollen from a male flower to that female during those 8 hours, that potential cucumber is gone. Not delayed. Not waiting for better conditions. Gone permanently. The plant will open the next female flower tomorrow, but that one has the same 8-hour window. And the one after that. This is where most gardeners lose all their fruit without realizing it is happening. For pollination to happen, something has to carry pollen from a male to a female while both are open. In most gardens, that something is a bee. A bee lands on a male flower, collects nectar, picks up pollen on the hairs of its body, flies to a female flower, and deposits that pollen. The female gets what it needs. The tiny cucumber at its base starts swelling. A few days later, you can see visible growth. But bee populations in suburban and urban gardens have been declining for years. A garden surrounded by lawns and fencing with few flowering plants nearby may simply not have enough bee activity to reliably visit every female flower during its single open day. Everything on the plant looks perfect, the timing looks right. But the window keeps closing empty because nobody made the transfer. And you have no way of seeing it happen. Weather makes it worse. On very hot days above about 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 Celsius. Or on rainy days, bees largely stay out of gardens. If a female flower opens during a stretch of bad weather, that flower may get no visitors at all. One good week followed by 3 wet days and you can lose every female that opened. You will recognize a failed pollination by what happens at the base of the flower afterwards. The tiny swelling that should have started growing instead turns yellow and soft within 2 days of the flower closing. That yellowing miniature cucumber that never grew is not disease. It is not a deficiency. It is simply a missed window. The plant reabsorbs it and moves on to the next flower. Here's the fix. It takes 30 seconds. Go out in the morning between 8 and 10, while both male and female flowers are fully open. Take a small, soft paintbrush. The kind sold for children's art sets works perfectly. Gently swirl the tip inside a male flower. You will see a pale yellow powder coating the bristles. That is pollen. Now carry the brush to a female flower and swirl the bristles gently inside to transfer the pollen. One male flower has enough pollen to cover several females in the same session. No paintbrush available. Use your finger instead. Or pick a male flower entirely, fold back its petals to expose the center, and press it gently against the inside of each open female like a small stamp. Either method works. What matters is that pollen moves from male to female while both are open. 2 to 3 days after successful hand pollination, the tiny cucumber behind the female flower will start visibly swelling. That is your confirmation it worked. If the base yellows and drops within 2 days of the flower closing, that pollination did not take. But the next female that opens tomorrow morning is a new opportunity. Now here's the part that most gardening advice never mentions. The part that takes a difficult situation and actively makes it worse. And it is something that almost every gardener in this position does without realizing it. When you see flowers but no fruit, your instinct is to feed the plant. Something is missing, the reasoning goes, so add fertilizer. Out comes whatever is in the shed, usually something with a high first number on the label, and on it goes. For cucumbers and active flower, this tends to work against you. That first number on a fertilizer label represents nitrogen. Nitrogen drives vegetative growth. Leaves, vines, stems, green mass. A cucumber plant that receives a heavy nitrogen feed when it should be directing energy toward reproductive development tends to respond by producing more foliage instead. The result is a magnificent, enormous, deeply green cucumber plant with very few female flowers, and therefore very little fruit. More nitrogen does not fix the problem. In many cases, it extends it by weeks. What cucumbers need during the flowering and fruiting phase is phosphorus. Phosphorus supports flower and fruit development. Look at the 3 numbers on the fertilizer label. The middle number is phosphorus. You want that number to be equal to or higher than the first number during this stage. A 5-10-5 or a 4-8-4 supports what the plant needs right now. Bone meal is a slow-release organic option. Work a small amount gently into the soil surface around the base of the plant. Water it in thoroughly, and follow the package guidance on quantity. It releases steadily over several weeks and supports flowering without the risk of burning roots. The combination of hand-pollinating every female flower you find in the morning and shifting the feed toward phosphorus rather than nitrogen addresses the 2 most common causes of flowers without fruit. One ensures the window does not keep closing empty. The other shifts the plant toward producing more female flowers in the first place. Go out to the plant today. Check the base of every flower you can find. Look for the small swelling. If you find an open female right now, pollinate it before it closes. If you only have males today, check again tomorrow morning and the morning after. Watch the base of any hand-pollinated flower over the following 2 to 3 days. Visible swelling means it worked. Yellowing means it did not, but the next flower is already on its way. Write in the comments how long your plant has been flowering and whether you have found any female flowers yet. I read every one, and if you describe exactly what you are seeing, I can help you figure out which part of this applies to your situation. And if you want to know what to do when cucumbers do start forming but come out bitter or stop growing halfway or turn yellow before they reach full size, subscribe. That video is already on its way.